podcast, your home for everything North Melbourne Football Club. I'm Dean Vasic, and today I'm solo again on a Thursday night. Unfortunately, Siobhan Rowe is unavailable. She's got too much of a social life, more of a social life than I do, clearly. But yeah, she's keeping very busy, but she should be back next week. So for all our fans out there, and today we're looking ahead to Saturday afternoon, I should say tonight, when North Melbourne travels to Adelaide Crows and Adelaide Oval to take on the Crows. Not a happy hunting ground, never won there, so this is going to be a challenge. Now, this is one of those games where the challenge is pretty clear. Adelaide at home is never easy, and it's a proper test of where North Melbourne is really at right now. Not just on the ladder, but in terms of competitiveness, effort, and growth. So on this episode, we'll break down what North needs to get right from last week, some of the matchups, and what we should realistically be looking for from the Roos this weekend. Because wins are great, but progress matters too. So, yeah, and we have been in headlines a lot in week or two, which I'll go through as well. But I won't go too much into the matchups from here on in. I know I have probably done that for the majority of the times I have gone into the team news on the round sevens, but I want to get your opinions as well. So I will be from now on each week, as soon as team news comes out, I will go on X. I will try and put something on Instagram as well. I know there's only a short time frame and not everyone goes on social media, but I will get people's views as well, your views more importantly, rather than just getting my views of team selection. And there seems to be a common theme already from what I've seen with team selection this week, or lack of team selection, for the people that have missed that. So, yeah, if you're heading to the game, watching from home, I don't know if many North fans will be going to the game, or you're just keen to see where the group is trending, stick around. So let's preview North Melbourne versus Adelaide. But before we do that, there has been a lot of talk this week about contracted players, and some players we are looking at. Now, there have been talks that Darcy Wilson is a hot free agent at the end of the year, and he's only 20 years old, has had a fantastic third year, he's really developing quite well. Carl Tubia's come out and said North are favourites for his signature end of the year. It's still very early, I'm certainly not going to get excited, and possession is 9/10 of the law, in case people were wondering. So I'm not certainly getting excited, but looking at his stats this year, and he had a very good game against the Gold Coast Suns last week, where he played on a wing, had 20 possessions, 21 possessions, and kicked 4 goals. So over the course of the year, he is averaging 20.4 possessions per game, a goal a game. That's obviously inflated through last week. His inside 50s have gone up from 2.6 to 3.6 this year. His ball use has been a lot better as well this year. It's come up a bit, considering he's getting a lot more of the ball, which is really good to see. So his disposal efficiency is at 69.3%. Scoring involvements have gone up a lot this year too. So he is involved in a lot of chains and a lot of scores. Saints aren't a big scoring team, and that's generally what Ross Lyon teams are. They're not very big scoring teams. So it's gone up from 3.8 to 5.9 in scoring involvement. So that's about a 35% increase. And his metres gained have gone up from 288 to 338 metres per game. So last year he averaged 4 turnovers per game in 15 possessions per game. This year he's averaging less turnovers. So that's an indication that he is becoming a lot better with his ball use. And his intercepts for a wingman have gone up from 2 to 3.2. So he's turned into a very good two-way player. Am I going to get excited by him? Not just yet, but for a guy that's about going to turn 21 in around July, August, there's certainly plenty of room for growth. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. But I'm certainly not going to put all my eggs into getting Dustin Wilson to North Melbourne, and the price would be high because it would have to be a trade. Another player that's obviously been rumoured in the last week is Jacob Wiedering. Now, he's contracted till 2031. And he is 28 years old. Look, he certainly feels the need, but it's something that I don't want to pay ridiculous overs to get him to the club. Now, a lot of people sort of said just give up two firsts, maybe Tom Powell as well in the deal. I don't think Carlton wants Tom Powell, to be honest with you. You've got a lot of those one-paced midfielders at the moment, so they probably want a bit more leg speed into the team, and they want a really good player. Now, what is a really good player for Carlton and what they need, I'm not too sure what that is. They're probably starting a little bit from scratch again. They're going to have to rebuild after this year, so it makes sense for them to get rid of Jacob Wedding, but he is a very valuable player. Still having a good year this year as far as now. Because I was looking at it, I was comparing him to a couple of players, and a player that I was interested, maybe looking at that's a cheaper price, is Charlie Ballard from the Gold Coast Sun. So I looked at his 2024 season to Jacob Weeding's 2026 season, and the numbers, Jacob Weeding is still producing better numbers. Charlie Ballard has come from an ACL last year, and he's still working his way into the team this year, probably struggling for that opportunity, and seems to have fallen a bit behind with the development of Mac Andrew. Obviously, they've got Sexton, who's a very good defender as well. So, yeah, that was someone I'm looking at. A couple of players that are uncontracted, that are good defenders that could possibly come to the club. Dougal Howard, from St Kilda, who's out of contract at the end of the year. There were a lot of talks about him leaving last year, but he stuck around. And Jordan Butts, obviously, from Adelaide Crows. So he's back in the team this week, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes. But yeah, I will wait and see on any key defenders, because it is an area that we do probably need an extra player in at the moment. We do have some a couple of young players. Blake Threadgold, who's out injured at the moment, coming through, and maybe Will Dawson. Still don't know where his best position is, so that's a player that we may have to look at re-signing and developing in the back line. I'm not too sure. But first and foremost, I think the most important thing is looking after our own backyard, to be honest with you. There's a few uncontracted players at the end of this year. George Wardlaw, Zane Duursma are the big ones. And next year is Finn O'Sullivan. These are the players we're going to have to pay a little bit of money to keep at the club, and we do have to look after our own backyard at the moment, not instead of worrying about other players from other clubs. So yeah, Finn O'Sullivan, there's a lot of talk about Tassie going at him and putting in big offers for him, and that's understandable. And that's going to, they won't be the only club going for him, especially if it gets to this time next year and he's out of contract. He looks like he's going to be a high quality A grade midfielder, and to complement that with Harry Sheezel and LDU, for the future of this midfield and the future of this club, we certainly have to tie him down. And even the Colin McKerchel is someone, I think he's contracted till 2028. He's someone that I really want to tie down till 2030. So, yeah, George Wardlaw, and it's all good and well saying, oh, we'll get Darcy Wilson, we'll offer him big money, but there might be something like George Wardlaw's manager might be going, well, how much are you offering him? Because if you want to keep George Wardlaw, and I know George Wardlaw loves the club, and I'm sure his priority is to stay, but if he's going to get a big offer from, he's an Essendon supporter growing up, if he's going to get a big offer from Essendon, like they were offering 5 years, is $800,000 a year, whereas we offer him, by the sounds of it, an extra 2-year extension. I think, then he's seriously got to consider his future. And, at the end of the day, football is a business, and you'll make friendships at other clubs too, and you build bonds with them and so forth. And he really, he is the spirit of the club as well. He is the Anthony Stevens of the late 90s, early 2000s, when, you talk about shin boners. He's very much the Glenn Archer and Anthony Stevens. He bleeds blue and white. He's that blue collar, player that plays with his jumper out and puts his heart and soul into every contest. Plays each game like it's his last. Or in the famous words of Ted Lasso or Allen Iverson, goes out there and plays each week like it's his last, like I said before. So he's someone that we really need to re-sign, as well as Zane Dersma as well. He's shown signs that this year that if he gets the opportunity, he's going to be a very, very good player. Kicked 2 goals last week. He's kicked 13 goals in 7 games this year. He's kicked multiple goals in 5 of those occasions as well. So he looks like he's going to be a real talent. He's progressing well, which is what you want to see. So we'll have to, wait and see. But the longer it goes, the more nervous I get, because I guarantee you, whatever people think that Brady Rawlings will do, it's probably a good chance he'll do the opposite. So I certainly don't have trust in him at the moment, as a lot of supporters might know. Not the biggest Brady Rawlings fans, and the decisions he's made with the list over the years. But we are where we are right now. There has been a lot of media talking us up this week as well. Adam Simpson has said, in the next year or two we're going to have the best midfield in the competition. Look, I don't think we're that far away at the moment. We'll probably be in the top 5 right now, to be honest with you. We've dominated the midfield most games this year, but in saying that, who knows? And there's been a number of other media personalities talk us up as well, which generally means that when sometimes we can drink our own bathwater and then put in a poor performance on Saturday. And I'm a little bit nervous, to be honest with you, that we may just drop the ball this weekend. I think the last time they talked us up was after round 1 against Port Adelaide, and we were absolutely shocking against the West Coast. Not shocking, but I know it was a different time, but West Coast produced an upset win over us in round 2, so and haven't really done anything since. I think they beat Port Adelaide next week, and they've been trounced in most games since then. So it makes me a little bit nervous about this weekend. So we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully the players aren't drinking their own bathwater and they can produce a competitive performance this week. So I'm going to go back to one of my favourite games in the last 10 years, and probably in a long time, to be honest with you. We haven't had many good ones in the last 5 or 6 years, to say the least, as a North fan. But I'm going to go back to 2017. So, all right, this was when North absolutely tore Adelaide apart in Tasmania. So, Roos fans, let's roll the clock back to one of the most brutal and beautiful afternoons North Melbourne has ever produced, and that's a big call. I've followed a lot of games in the last 35 years, but cast your mind back to round 7 2017 down in Hobart, Blundstone Arena, North Melbourne versus Adelaide, and this wasn't just any Crow side. This was a top of the ladder Adelaide team, absolutely flying, and then the Roos just lit up the place. North Melbourne at quarter time kicked 10 goals straight, 10 zip. From Adelaide, but by quarter time it was 64-0, and I know there was a strong wind, and it was back in the day where no lead was safe with us, but you just felt like the game was done before Adelaide even knew who hit them. This wasn't just this wasn't scrappy footy. This was statement football. Jared Waite turned back the clock with 6 goals, marking absolutely everything that came his way. Geez, I like Jared Waite. This was his last year of AFL football. I think it was, or maybe he had one more year after that, but I'm pretty sure this was his last year. And he kicked goals from everywhere that afternoon. Ben Cunnington, he was good back then. Just bullocked his way through the midfield. Todd Goldstein monstered the stoppages. Every Roo just looked switched on. There was not one non-contributor in that game, and the final score was 22-13, 145 to Adelaide Crows. Top of the table, Adelaide Crows, 13-8, 86, a 59-point demolition of one of the best teams in the competition. To this day, I'll say it was the best game North Melbourne has at least ever played in Tassie. And I watched the highlights a little bit before, and it was a good game to watch. So yeah, very, very exciting times back then, and it felt like we were taking steps forward. It was obviously the year that I think it was 2017 where there was talk about Dusty Martin and Josh Kelly coming to the club, and it felt like it was almost over the line with a few weeks to go in the season, and unfortunately it didn't happen. So yeah, but anyways, we'll go to team changes and no team changes this week. So I don't think there's any surprise with that. The team was quite good last week, and yeah, I mean, now I will go to X, and I did ask the question, and I'll get, and there seems to be a common theme with a lot of this. Now, Clark O'Rue came in, said he doesn't mind it. Chips at Chips22509, Shane Jolly, Brent Weswick, and Dawson Chase all wanted Hardeman to come in for Luke McDonald, and I thought it was. I think that's fair enough in a way. I think it's a good opportunity, and Hardeman was quite good in the VFL last week. So yeah, I would have gone with that, to be honest with you, just to get a bit of youth. And while you got Luke Parker back there, Caleb Daniels, got some good veterans he can learn off. So I think it's a good opportunity. It would have been a good opportunity for. It would have been a good opportunity for Riley Hardeman to come in this week, give a bit more run and drive, which is something we're really lacking at the moment. We're really, ever since McKerch has probably gone to high half forward, we're probably lacking that player that can give us a bit of speed from behind the ball in that back half. Not to the extent of Nick Blakey or anything like that, but someone with a bit of speed that can get that overlap. I thought it would have been a good opportunity to get Riley Hardeman in. But in saying that, I'm not going to complain too much now. At Graham King is coming to the chat now, and he says rumours of a PC hamstring issue. If PC is out, ball back to the forward line and Hardeman into the back line. That's probably what would happen if I had to take a yes. So that, I did see that on the news tonight that PC was clutching at his hamstring. It could be a ploy too. It could be just showing Adelaide Crows that, we've got PC, he might be out, so, but who knows. I'm not going to, I'm not going to read too much into it until something happens. So just the matchups. I'll say Fino Sullivan goes to Jordan Dawson this week. That's a good education for him as well. So which I really like. Riley Thilthorpe. Now there's talk of him that he didn't train yesterday, that he might be laid out. I certainly hope so, but. Look, he's a player that usually kills us. Darcy Fogarty has come into the team, as has Jordan Butts as well. So a couple of good ins for the Crows there. You'd have to think that the two smalls, Costanti, Charlie Spargo, so they'll be key to holding up the overlap from Rory Laird and Wayne Malira, who are very damaging players going forward. And their forward line is very stacked. Ben Keys, he may go to like a Caleb Daniel. He's probably the best ball user in our defensive half, or he may even go to Luke Parker. I'm not too sure. Just try and quell them. I think Charlie Conlon may go to Thilthorpe this week just to match him up, and load maybe to Fogarty. They've got Daniel Curtin as well. They've got Rankin goes forward. Alex Neil-Bullen, good little small forward. So they've certainly got some options. And no changes for North Melbourne. So emergencies are Riley Hardeman, who could be a possible late in if PC Paul Curtis can't come into the side. Matt Whitlock is an emergency, who played okay in the reserves last week, and Cooper Harvey still waiting for his first game for the year as well. So few little changes, so that will be it as far as previewing the game. I won't go too much into it, it seems to be a common consensus that a lot of you people want Riley Hardeman in for Luke McDonald. So we'll have to wait and see if we get look, we've been quite competitive in every game this year. We haven't been blown out, except for Geelong, probably the last quarter. So it might be just a case of if we get a couple more if we get a bad loss or a couple more losses, then they may look to a bit more youth into the team in the future weeks. Sorry for the cough there. So, look, this isn't going to be a long podcast. I'll just go through my final prediction. I reckon the Crows by about 5 goals. Not a happy hunting ground. We really struggled at Adelaide Oval. I'm a little bit nervous that it might be might be a bit of a blowout loss. And yeah, that makes me a little bit nervous, only because we don't play that ground well at all. So, if we do happen to put in a competitive performance, I think it'll be a big plus. But a potential match winner for me, if we do win, I'm going to back the skipper, Nick Larkey. It's now he's been under the pump the last week or two. David King has really come hard at him, as have other media personalities, and even some supporters have as well. So, with the big ground, more space. I think he'll bounce back after a disappointing few weeks from the skipper. Our ball use has got to be better going forward too. But there was certainly opportunities for him, one-on-one, where he got outdone and got outmatched by a third gamer. So that was a little bit of a concern. But, I mean, the good thing about Nick Larkey, if he does get opportunities, all he needs is 3 or 4. He's generally a really reliable kick. So if he can get 3 or 4 really good opportunities, then he certainly can take his chances. In saying Adelaide Oval, now last year we almost beat Port Adelaide over there, and it was a game where Nick Larkey didn't kick too well either. So I think he kicked 2 goals 3 or something like that. So you never know. Maybe we're turning the corner with the Adelaide Oval. A potential breakout player, and I'll go Charlie Comben. He needs to have a big game, especially with their big key forwards and their smalls as well. If he can certainly get a lot of intercepts and stop, and he's going to rely on a lot of pressure coming up the field. He's got to, talk about Charles Bogan, Costanti, Paul Curtis if he does play, and a number of others. If they can certainly put the pressure up the field and they can force the long balls long, then that plays into the Charlie Combins, and hopefully he can have a big game and take a few intercept marks and help us out there. But that's about it for tonight. So, like I said, I'm going to try and, if I'm going to do a solo podcast, and I should have Siobhan next week, we're going to try and get your calls in, your opinions in. I'll try and put something on Instagram as well. I've been a bit slack with that. I've generally been very slack with my social media, to be honest with you. I'm not a big social media sort of person, so maybe it's just something I have to, do to involve you supporters more in the future. So I will be putting out the question on X, and certainly getting people's opinions. And if people want to talk about not just team selection, but other things that maybe how we can beat the team coming up. I think we've got Gold Coast next week, so maybe you can, supporters can come in and talk about that and futures of players and so forth. But we'll have to wait and see. But that's it from me tonight. So I'll be back on generally Monday, can be Monday, Tuesday, to review the game and hopefully review a good performance against the Crows this week. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit nervous about this one. So hopefully we can put in a really good performance and the players aren't listening too much and drinking their own bathwater, but we'll have to wait and see. So don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. I've got to get better at checking my Spotify comments. I know a few people come in there and put in some good comments and so forth. So I'll try and be a bit better with that. But that's it for tonight. Don't forget, like I said, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff to help the show out. Tell you other Roos fans about it. And that's it from me. So bye for now.